Hi there, welcome to this midweek market analysis. So as usual, what we're going to do is to go through the technical charts over here and to highlight some of the key pairs to focus for the remaining part of the week as part of the trading opportunities and setup. So let's get started with the dollar index. So over here, in terms of dollar index, we're essentially still expecting a short-term upside. We are expecting market to still test at 105.60, but I would personally be more cautious on any buy trade. And in fact, I'll be a little bit more patient and see how the market is going to react around this zone, and even potentially just wait out for a reversal signal and look for that downside instead. So any buy trade you're looking at the dollar right now, I would say it's mainly on the short-term side, and definitely you want to be managing that position very closely, right? And of course, if you translate that perspective into the euro, they're kind of inverse in this relationship here. So we're still expecting that short-term downside potentially towards 1.0485, which is where the previous low is. And kind of similar concept over here, the market came down quite a bit, and we are expecting kind of a bounce or even at least some form of reaction, a bigger retracement, okay, from this area here. So same thing, if you're looking at any kind of sell trade, it's definitely going to be a very short-term thing. And for me, I'm personally more patient to wait out and see if we can get a decent reversal setup. I think that would be more worthwhile going in as a swing trade. Okay, so that's on the dollar and the euro side. A little bit on the pound. Okay, so last session we actually shared that basically yesterday, right, we shared that this is something that we're expecting to look for a rejection slightly above where the current market price is, right? So we kind of utilize this fib here, looking around at 100% to 123, right? So somewhere around 1.2155. The highest point that price came to is like 1.2143. So we missed that by just that couple of pips, close to just 10 pips, and the market gave us a very decent rejection. So for me, I did not manage to capitalize on this, but I don't know if some of you are in, that's great. Okay, because some of you might just look at it as a top, or even look at price action to get involved in it from that rejection. Then my suggestion is just manage this position. I think from here, this little reaction yesterday, we can expect this to just keep falling towards 1.1840, and that would be a pretty decent trade to the downside. Okay, and for pound dollar here, once the price tag the 1.1840 again around this recent low, you want to be taking profits and potentially look for the reversal as well, okay, because pound dollar over here, once this pattern has complete in its down move, what we are seeing here is potentially this may develop into a bigger move back up, right? So this is the 1 2 3 in a consolidation. So after that, there's a good chance we'll see more upside. Okay, so that's on the pound. In terms of Aussie, it's actually quite similar to the euro. Okay, we're still expecting short-term downside towards 0.6630, but as I mentioned, once it tagged it, potentially we're going to see a bigger reaction back up. And any sell trade over here, okay, while we do get a little bit of a consolidation, which is a valid sell trade perhaps on the lower time frame, like 30-minute, H1, you might want to be cautious on it in a way that you need to manage your position more actively. Okay, and of course, if you are more of the short-term intraday, then you also need to ask yourself, that kind of risk to reward plus the effort in managing this risk, this trade, is it worthwhile for you? Okay, so Aussie, we're still expecting that short-term downside, but once it tags around the area of 6630, we'll be looking for potential reversal. Dollar Canadian, pretty nice reaction there. Okay, so dollar CAD right now, we're looking at it from a perspective of a 1 2 3. Right now, potentially developing wave 4, and then we expect another pushback up to complete that impulsive 5-wave structure. We do have a very little nice reaction here at 236 yesterday, but I'm just a little bit more patient and I want to wait for the setup that I'm more comfortable with. And for me, that would be waiting for a clear, at least a 3-wave pullback, right? So in this case here, I think it's more towards that 382 potentially, and you'll be looking at something like that. So 1, 2, 3, somewhere around this will be the area to look for a buy. And of course, based on Elliott Wave guidelines and rules, if this is a 4th wave, it can never enter the wave 1 territory, which is 3470. So if I'm looking at 382, then of course the risk, okay, would be quite minimum. I think about 50 pips with a potential target up here about 250. So that opens up a very, very healthy risk to reward ratio. Okay. So that's one thing to look out for. Obviously, the market doesn't need to pull back all the way down. Okay, what you can do is you can just do a little bit here and then just keeps going. So there is no perfection in trading, and of course, you need to be familiar with what is the setup, okay, that you are looking out for, and what are some of the conditions and criteria within part of your trading plan that allows you to execute the trade. Okay, the direction is quite clear in the focus right now. It's just a matter of like what is the setup, what's your go-to setup that you're using. Okay. Then we have the dollar yen. Okay, so dollar yen over here, ideally we have completed a smaller degree 5-wave structure, and right now we are expecting a deeper pullback, perhaps towards like 134.80 to 133.55. And if you can get that, then that would be a very decent buy opportunity for a bigger 5th wave count to the upside. And of course, from Elliott Wave perspective, again, this is wave 1. The bigger wave 4 should not come back to the bigger wave 1, and therefore the invalidation level is around 132.85. Any decent pullback, corrective 3-wave move, will be able to look for the buy. Okay, of course, the market can still develop like this here, but if it's going to be like that, it doesn't change the overall structure. This is still going to be 3 and 5, and we still expect that wave 4 back down first. Okay. So dollar yen here, probably need to be a little bit more patient. Then we have gold. Okay, yesterday gold did push up a little bit, but that doesn't really change the entire structure. Basically, this is still coming down very correctively. So while we're expecting a little bit more downside, this is a setup that I will never join as part of the sell, because again, it's moving down slow, it's not going down fast, there's no clear setup. The clearest setup for potential sell was actually here. All this is not a clear sell setup. So I wouldn't suggest that you get too aggressive and look for sell right now. You probably just want to be patient and see how the market's going to develop from here. Once it comes around at 1787, I think it'll be better to look for a reversal and buy, because then that opens up a bigger upside opportunity. Cool. Crude oil. Okay, so crude oil yesterday did break that trend line, as well as the higher structure over here at 7665. So crude oil is quite a clean structure right now from an overall perspective. We again see this as a 1, 2, 3, a reset here. So we are expecting another 3-wave up, and again, we are capitalizing on this, right? So yesterday break, if you manage to get involved in it, I think you just need to manage your position. Ideally, we want to see the momentum to carry forward. Okay, yes, the market will never move up every hour, but the idea here, it should go quick, a little bit of a pullback, and then it should just continue onwards. Okay, so the final target for buy here is somewhere around $84.20. You want to pay attention to that level, because that has some confluence of a bigger 3-wave completion, the top of the channel, and of course some fips, which we may see some bigger rejection back down. So be cautious on that, right? But the direction on crude oil is quite clear. Definitely focus on the upside. Then we have the S&P, right? So S&P over here, basically from Monday until today, not much of a move, right? The market came back towards this 50 and 618, stalling around there. Not really bouncing off quite aggressively, also not really breaking it down yet. So this may ideally turn into a crawl, maybe a little bit more on the downside, tagged at 618. If that's the case, then I think we'll have a very decent potential buy opportunity based on this impulse crawl pattern. So you want to just be a little bit more patient, maybe give it another 1 or 2 days, today and tomorrow. wait for the market to give you that clear setup, and then you can look for that trade. Okay, so that's the overall equity side of things. Bitcoin here is again doing nothing much but consolidation, and of course the more it consolidates, it will open up the next possibility of an impulse, because that's how the market works, right? It's gonna contract and then it's gonna expand. So over here, nothing has changed. We're still looking for the upside because of this short little impulse correction. We expect at least one more push back up, and one key level to look up for is around 24060. If the market can break above that impulsively, then of course that will be a potential trade with a target at 27265, and of course a very conservative stop back at the previous low at 21380. Right, so that's all for me in today's midweek video over here. All the best to your trading, and I'll see you guys in the next one.